Okay, so I know you don't have programme notes, so I'm going to tell you what each of them was called, in case you don't already know. We'll start with My Bloody Valentine and Feed Me With Your Kiss. Then it was Earl Brutus, SAS, and Paul Weller, You Do Something To Me.
Who did you on the song?
I'm not sure. Bottom.
It's a red one.
A red one.
Is that working? Yeah, cool. Thank you. Excellent.
You're on?
Are you on?
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay, rock and roll. Okay. Right, well let's start with the My Bloody Valentine. You just said that was like the second video you made. I know you didn't like do the whole film school route, and you were obviously a musician. And how did the making videos thing come about in the first place?
I don't know. I guess it's quite telling that the first thing I bought when I got my record advance before I bought a really nice guitar was a Super 8 camera. So, you know, for me, and like lots of people that are in bands, there's a kind of twin obsession with film and music. It's never been something that's been separated from me. So it's a natural thing, and I had that Super 8 camera, and then Kevin from My Bloody Valentine would pester me to say, let's make a video. So I did it, and they did another one. That was the second one, and then strangers started asking me, and it seemed like I was quite surprised at that. And that was while I was still in the band, so it was a really kind of natural progression. And yeah, and it's a great way to learn filmmaking. Making music videos is like having an apprenticeship in the kind of old-fashioned sense.
And do you still find that in terms of a place to kind of test out ideas and to learn new stuff?
Yeah, it's an incredible kind of open medium for testing ideas and also working with different technicians and directors of photography. So, I mean, I love it. I mean, it goes back to the time when I was like, 14, watching, Sex Pistols bootlegs, And again, I think it's something that's been really influential. It's like you get Sex Pistols bootlegs or College bootlegs when you were 15, and they were like really shit quality, and then added to that you would do acid or mushrooms and watch them all night. And I think, hopefully you'll see over the course of the night that I've never really got away from it. It was quite a profound thing, especially coming from East Coast Bride where you could pick mushrooms in your front garden. So.
Okay, well with the second video, the Earl Brutus one, I sometimes think in cinema in general, it's very rare that you see like a live music performance that feels sweaty, that feels something visceral. And in that one, as soon as I saw it, I wanted to smash things. I wanted to ask you about that from your experience of being someone who performs. Yeah, how you talk to the band about kind of bringing that performance into film, into music video.
Well, I think you'll see over the course of the night there's performance in quite a lot of those things, but it goes back to watching, the Sex Pistols videos, Pretty Vacant, and so and like for me there's a real power in that. So, and I think that lots of the things, like seeing music presented visually on top of the pops, there's always something really powerful in that for me. And I think over the years people have come to me that like Paul Weller, who came to, when I first worked with him in like 1990 whatever, he said to me a really strange thing, that he'd been in the Jam since he was 16. Probably the time I met him he'd made like 30 music videos, and he said to me, it was like kind of an insane compliment. He said, I've made videos for so long, and like 95% of them I can't watch them back. And I was like, why? And he said, because I look like a dick. I guess because he felt that he was doing this performance thing, and he's like an amazing live performer, and to take that out of the context of the live performance and onto a kind of music video, and I guess being in a band and being in that, feeling like that, the band I was in, there were some great videos, but it was really hard to watch them back because you look like a dick. So I think that and people tend to come to me for that reason, that they want to make a music video that they don't look like a dick in, and that's a pretty high thing.
Well, one of the videos we're going to see later is a similar kind of trajectory in terms of being like a day trip. The last one, the Paul Weller one, that feeling of be interesting to know how planned and how meticulous you are in advance, or whether it is just, you know, you have the faith and the confidence that you're going to pick up people having a good time.
Well, I think that was like, you know, it's when the Paul Weller one, and you'll see the Pete Doherty thing later, that we'd go out with a Super 8 camera with no crew, just simply me and them, and, you know, after having a kind of good day out for like 5 or 6 hours, like I'd say, that's it, we've made the video, and they couldn't believe it, really. Yeah. So, you know, and also it's quite self-indulgent because I'm a lazy fucker and I'd like to just make things quite quickly. Yeah, but I think, you know, but it's, in a way it's nice that you know, if you're making a music video, it's nice to feel like you're not doing any work, you know. And I think anyone that's ever been in a band is you join a band because you want to avoid work. And then you do a sense of real work. I mean, later on you find out that it's actually loads of work, but it's a bit of a downer.
Okay, well the last one I have on these is just the El Brutus one again. Where did the moustache come from? Where was that idea?
Well, I mean, I guess Scott King, who does some of their sleeves, that's kind of his idea, but it goes back to, there's a Benwell film, Salmon of the Desert, where Sylvia Pinal was an amazing actress. She wears a beard at one point, so yeah, it's just rip-offs, really.
Okay, should we watch the next 3? Next 4. Okay, so the videos you just saw were Telescopes with Celeste, Peter Doherty with For Lovers, Edwin Collins, Keep On Burning, and The Horrors, Sea Within a Sea. Right, it was really interesting seeing the Telescopes one and then the Horrors one as the kind of bookends in that section, because it feels like there's quite a clear thread through lots of your videos, actually, that's to do with this kind of use of kind of block colours and how you play with kind of geometric kind of stripes and shapes and stuff. Like in the first one, it felt a lot in post, whereas in that one it was very much kind of you know, directed at the band. And how did you come across this style?
Well, I guess the strange, is that working? So,
Use mine.
you think after all this fucking time to turn on? Yeah, it's weird that the Edwin Collins one, which was shot from VHS and was shot in film, and you know, quite some years ago, and to get that effect, you know, you had to shoot it on film and then get a print and then add those colours frame by frame on an optical printer. You know, it took a long time. And then the Horrors one, which similar kind of atmosphere, was done digitally, but not digitally because the only way we could get that texture was to, you know, attach magnets to the television, which is something everyone discovers when they're a kid, when they fuck up their mum and dad's TV by putting magnets on the front, don't we? I did. So it goes back to those kind of same preoccupations, you know, colour and texture and energy, but yeah.
And do you enjoy working on digital as much as working on film?
Well, it's a strange thing with digital, you know. I mean, I love film, and I guess, you know, you've got to make the most of whatever technology is put in front of you, but it's a really sad thing that film, no one makes music videos on film anymore. It's really sad. Someone told me the other day that they shot something on 16mm and went to do it again 2 years later and hired the same camera from the same kind of, you know, place. And when you make a film, you know, you put marks on the lenses, you know, as marks for focus, and you leave kind of gaffer tape all over it. And when they went to hire it again 2 years later, no one had used it in that time because all the little marks were still on. So, you know, sad, but, you know, but I guess you can't. The thing about digital is, like, with analog technology, if you half break it or you fuck around with it, you get really interesting things. And most digital technology, if you do that, it just doesn't fucking work. You know, it's like, how can you, you know, so, yeah.
Okay.
But I guess you've got to strive, whatever technology you've got, you know, either digital or film, you've got to try and fuck it up somehow. And it, like, digitally, you know, there's new generations of cameras every time, and they're all striving to make it look like film, and you're like, well, why don't you just shoot it in a fucking film? You know?
Well, kind of aside from the technology and the texture of the format, are there any particular kind of visual influences or filmmakers who are kind of feeding into this kind of the ideas that you've got about colour?
Well, as I said before, it's the kind of bootleg video plus acid. That's a big thing, but then you discover, you know, if you live in East Kilbride like I did, and you'd go to the kind of library and you'd look at film books and you'd see people like Stan Brakhage and Kenneth Anger, but you can never see those films. You might see some stills from their films, and you kind of like, how do they do that? And you figure out your own way to do it in a totally different way to they did. So, and I think in anything you do in music or film or anything, the kind of preoccupations that you have when you're 15 or 16 stay with you. You know, they always expand and you take them on a stage, but you always kind of keep coming back to them, I think.
Okay, well, I'm about to ask you about sometimes teenage occupation, thing that you think about, not an occupation. Romance. I want to ask you about romance and the Pete Doherty video, and how I was thinking about this. I was thinking about the iconography of certain artists is so bound up with cinema, and I mean, even now when people are more likely to see a video on YouTube than they are actually to have any cover artwork because they're downloading so much. And I wonder if that's something that you really think about with certain artists as to how much you're building part of the myth of who they are.
Well, I mean, when I started making videos, there was no such thing as YouTube, really. And you'd make these videos and no one would ever see them, you know, there was a kind of mystery to it. I think in the YouTube age, you know, I guess that the video with Pete Doherty is like, you know, it may have a mystery to it, but the truth of the matter was that he was so fucked up at the time that, you know, the record company kept trying to make videos and he would fuck off and do loads of crack, and the woman from Rough Trade just said, well, here's $5,000, go and try and find him and make a video. And obviously I was doing loads of crack at the time, and she was like, chances are you'll probably disappear and I'll never fucking see you again, or you'll come back with a great video. And that's what happened. But you know, the truth of the matter is he said, oh, I'll meet you at 6 o'clock in the morning when I come off the train from London. And I totally knew if he wasn't there, I would have fucked off and spent all the money. So it's kind of act. I mean, that's the thing about those experimental filmmakers that you love, and before you even really discover what they do and read about it, it's that kind of thing, you know, spontaneity and the accident. Like, nah, I've been a lazy fucker, I found all that by accident. You know, like, you know, accidents can make amazing things. It's the spontaneity, and things that are unplanned have a kind of vibrancy that perhaps you don't see other places.
Mm. But I guess that also takes a lot of trust from the artists that you know that they can be spontaneous and that you're going to capture it.
I suppose so, you know, and I guess, but when you enter into any job or any music video and someone asking, it's like, you know, you're bound to give everything to them as a contract, really, you know.
Mm. Okay, and then I guess another one, the Edwyn Collins, he's also someone who, I mean, that whole song is about, well, it's quite a statement about his, you know, digging the Northern Soul scene and not digging, you know, grunge and some of the other things that he thought were rubbish at the time. How much kind of collaboration do you have with kind of certain artists in terms of their, I mean, how fixed were ideas around that?
Well, yeah, it's always the collaboration. I mean, the optimum way for making music videos is a collaboration, but the kind of sad thing is that you never always get that opportunity, you know. You're given a song and you have to write a script, and you ask the record company, can I go and meet them or can I go and see them live? And they think that's a fucking stupid question, you know, which is horrifying. But with someone like Edwyn, it's utterly something talked about before. Not in direct terms, but you meet them and you hang out with them for a while, you know, and you find that you have the same thing, same kind of preoccupations. Why do I choose that fucking word when I'm drunk? The same obsessions. That's easy. So, yeah. But Edwin was like someone, like when I was a kid, he was my hero, so it's kind of mental to work with him. But yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, you know, that was the kind of follow-up to his big hit single, you know, and it went nowhere. Which is,
What, should we watch the last three?
what's next?
Last three, got the intro.
Okay, well, so the next one is Spiritualized, who's like Jason's a good friend of mine and something I've done a few videos for. And then it's a Brazil 70, which is something I made for the BBC using Primal Scream's music, and I'd made lots of music videos for them, and this is a documentary for the BBC, and it was a great way to take on everything I've learned from music videos into a different kind of realm, really. And the last thing you'll see is a short film, which is a kind of ultimate expression of all that, which still has music and a great title sequence by Jim Lambie, who, yeah. But anyway, yeah, let's watch them.
Okay, I've got a couple more and I'll open it out so you can all ask questions. Maybe just to go back to briefly to the first videos in that section, the Spiritualized one. Can you talk a bit about kind of why you chose that for tonight and what you remember of the process of making it?
Well, it's weird. I chose it tonight because I've not seen it since I made it. I quite like to see it again. I just love that video. I don't know why. Just something about it. Like it was all done, like all those mixes between the faces and the kind of raindrops. It was all done live. It was not like post production. You know, we literally had a bottle of a kind of spray thing of water over a mirror, and we just turn the lights off and on. Goes back to being a lazy fucker and just wanting to do it all, not having to fuck around with post production. So yeah.
All right.
I just wanted to see it. There's nothing really.
Okay, well, Brazil 70. You kind of said this was a short for the BBC. So
yeah.
How did that come about? How had they seen your work, and was this something that's always been kind of an obsession for you, or?
No, I think that Mike Alway, who I made that with, was a guy from L Records, and he put this amazing compilation of like, it was a football record, but in the most kind of abstract sense. It was like bits of Eric Morecambe commentating on like a fucking Luton Town match and strange football songs, and we made a film on with our own money, really, commissioned by really the Japanese, and we sent it to the BBC almost for a laugh. And then like they called up 2 days later saying, hey, we're making a whole football night, we want to, you know, want you to make the opening programme. We were like, fuck's sake. And so we went in to make it, and there was a big resistance. This was 1992 or something, and there was a big football at that time. You know, now it's quite common to have like kind of contemporary music with football, but when we went to the BBC, it was literally guys in kind of, you know, brown coats doing the telly cine, and they were like, you can't do that sort of thing. And I'd worked with Primal Scream's music and music video for him, and I knew that, you know, when Andrew's here tonight, and he was like the ball boy, and you know, at Hampden and things, and so it just made sense to me to use their music with that era of football, you know. And like when they commissioned us, you know, they were like saying to me in a disappointed voice, you know, you want to make a film about Brazilian football, but we're not going to send you to Brazil, but you can go to the BBC archives for a month. And that was like, fucking, that's way better than going to fucking Brazil, you know. And at that time it was all like, you know, it wasn't digitised at that time, it was all like going to a library and looking through cards, and we just pulled out stuff about skinheads and mods, and spent half the time watching that, and then spent a couple of days watching football. And literally a lot of those things that we used in that had never been, it was on 16mm and on a Steinbeck, and they'd obviously never been watched since the documentaries that we took those sequences from were made, you know. But it was like a dream to go to the BBC archive in Windmill Lane, and it's like a massive warehouse, and it's like, you know, piles and piles of 16mm, you know, prints, and it was like heaven, really.
Excellent. Okay. Long distance information then. So this short film has been showing at lots of different festivals, and is now in kind of cinemas as part of the Joy of Six as well, and is kind of touring around the UK. Can we start with the story and how the story came to you?
Well, it's a true story. I mean, it's really, you know, it's when it comes to, it's quite difficult to write short, you know, films that last, you know, 7 or so minutes in a complete form. But luckily, or maybe not luckily, that happened to me, you know. So I think it's like utterly depressing, but ultimately, you know, you got to turn it around and make something good out of it. But yeah. So I was the kid, you know. I literally phoned, you know. I used to live in a flat and it, you know, properly, no floorboards, so I could hear the family downstairs, like everything they said. And it was a Christmas day, and I think they'd bought some ray guns for Christmas, and they were making a racket, and the dad started fucking screaming at them, going, "Fucking shut up," you know. And it made me think, you know, I couldn't really go down there and do anything, but it made me think of my family, my dad, and I thought, I'm going to call home, and I'm going to, my dad answers the phone rather than the usual, can I speak to my mum straight away? I'm going to try and have a conversation with them. And we had this conversation. It was like pulling teeth. It went on. It was mono fucking syllabic and like total general whatsoever. Like, and sort of halfway through, I'm thinking, fuck, my relationship with my dad is really bad. And then eventually he said, okay, then do you want to speak to your sister? And I'm like, fuck, it's even worse than I thought. And I'd always wondered what. So obviously I'd like dialed somewhere in my hometown, probably 2 streets away from where I grew up. I got one number wrong or something, and I always wondered what the guy's face was like. And to get Peter Mullan to do it, I mean, we got no money to make that film, and I somehow got Peter Mullan's agent's number and sent him that script, and everyone was going, you know, don't get your hopes up, you'll never, you probably won't do it, think of other people. And I also had his face in mind, because basically he's playing my dad, so it's fucking weird on the day, because he was so good at it, I was getting like a bit freaked out. And he just got back so, like 2 days later he sent me just like a 5-word response, and which just simply said, fucking superb, count me in. So yeah, I mean, so, yeah. It's a strangely personal story. It's like even watching it, and it does freak me out a bit.
Okay, do we have some questions from the audience?
Hopefully not.
Questions or comments on what you've seen as well?
Let's all go to the bar.
Some questions first. Yeah, up there. Go on.
Kevin Shields is kind of. Kevin Shields is rightly or wrongly portrayed as a bit of a perfectionist in the music press, and the video at the beginning there was quite raw. As you said, you've kind of kept that aesthetic through a lot of your videos. Did he have much of a say sort of over the finished product, or was he quite relaxed as far as?
No, not at all. I mean, he would really pester me to make those videos, and he just like would let me. I guess he kind of maybe thought I understood them, but not at all. No, at that time, not before he started smoking so much weed, I think. No, it was a very much a natural thing, you know. He was very happy with them, and never ever, when he saw it, he just thought, that's fine, you know, let's do another one. Really.
Thank you.
Yeah, down here.
Hey Douglas, in long distance information, how did you feel?
Can you just wait for the mic a second?
I have to do it in the microphone.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think they're recording it weirdly.
Douglas. In long distance information, what was it like casting yourself?
Well, no, yeah,
like
really.
Casting
well, like
the
casting
boy,
the dad, in a way that he was the only Scottish actor of a certain age that lived in London, so it was quite. But weirdly, people keep saying he looks really like you. I think it's a nose, but yeah, that was really. It's a freakish thing. You've got to try and, like, I guess, you know, if you write something, a script is based on your real life, you've got to try and just let it go, you know. But we did see some other actors that came down from Scotland, and they were a bit kind of middle class, and they were like trying to do a kind of a working class Scottish accent, and it was just like, you're fucking Scottish and you can't even do that. And I think it was really important that the voice was exactly the same. So in a way, like it was strange when I came to casting, there was 4 or 5 of them, and ultimately I just sat at home and not watched their faces, but just listened to them, and he was the one, and he was great. Alan, he was really amazing. And it turned out later, I didn't know this, that Peter Mullan's first ever, Caroline Patterson, who plays the mum, had run a theatre company called Rain Dog with Robert Carlyle, then husband, and Peter Mullan's first job was with them, and Alan Tripney, the guy who played the kid, had been in their youth theatre, so it was a really weird thing when they all came together on the day.
Did it feel kind of a natural progression in terms of working with actors to working with bands, or was it a different mindset?
It's weirdly, strangely, it was not that different. Actors, you have to, get a performance from them, and it's not that different from working with performers, really. I mean, on the way up to shooting the first day with Peter Mullan, I was quite kind of nervous and wondering how that would work, but strangely, it wasn't that different, really. I was really shitting it walking up, actually, and I walked into the room and I'd only ever spoken to Peter Mullan, and then he came up and like hugged me and put his arm around, but not just a little kind of tappy hug, he like held me for about a minute, and I thought, fuck, that's really good, and it totally dissolved all nerves, so yeah, I've got to thank him for that.
Alright, do we have any more from the audience? Yep, over there.
Well, excuse my terrible accent, but I just would like to know, are you proud of you? I mean, when you stand back and when you look back on things, how do you feel? Are you aware that you are a great filmmaker?
I never really think of those things, I guess. Sit and watch some of those videos I've not seen since I made them, and I don't know, all you need to do to go forward is feel you have something to offer, and thank fuck I feel that I do. Yeah, it's a strange thing. You never really, especially with music videos, what are kind of strangely, now with YouTube it's totally different, but when I first started making them, you'd make them and no one would ever fucking see them. So yeah, so it's a strange thing, and I would do it. I mean, it's lots of people say that, but I did it for nothing when I first started, and I would do it for nothing now, and often I still do.
And do you have, do you have ambitions in the kind of feature film area as well, or are you going to keep making shorts, or a bit of both, as well as music videos?
Well, strangely, after the first time that the short film was seen, I got a call from Film 4, weirdly, and the day after. I mean, we finished that film not long before it was shown in public for the first time, and the day after it was shown at the National Film Theatre, and I kind of got up the next day thinking, well, if I never make another one, it's a bit of a thrill to see that on the big screen at a cinema that I go to all the time, and I got this call from Film 4 saying, we saw your film come in and talk about future projects, and I was like, what fucking future project? I didn't really think about it, but so they're helping me develop another film, so yeah, I guess hopefully one of these days I'll make a film, but like I said, I'm a lazy fucker. It might take me 5 years to write it.
Okay, alright, well I think we're going to take it to the bar where you can all ask questions to Douglas informally. In the meantime, thank you all very much for coming, and please join me in thanking Douglas Hart.